Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Elizé, and I'm going to be your host for the next few days. Hello, everyone in the chat. We have Laura and Dawood and Voodoo Val and Fergie and Slimman. Hello, everyone. Welcome today. If you guys missed the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge with Julia Masalska, you can watch the replay of the second week at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every day this week. So let's get into it. I want to intro our lovely guest, Tarrea Tolbert. Hello, welcome to Adobe Live. Is this your first Adobe Live?
Yeah, this is my first Adobe Live.
Yay, I'm so glad I could host you. I'd love to know, we'd all love to know a little bit more about you and what you plan to cover over the next couple days with us.
Yeah, so for these 2 days, I'm going to design a plant matching app, a web app that basically matches you with your plant friend.
Ooh, I love plant friends.
Yeah, me too, obviously. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too. So let us know a little bit about your background and maybe show us some of your work.
Yeah, so my background, I'm a digital product designer or a visual designer. Currently working at a design agency, but I really like to hone in on my visual design type of forte that I have. So a lot of these projects that I worked on were following along to Adobe Live tutorials. So design challenges, the UI UX ones. So like, shout out to you, Elizé. I really, this is how I really honed in on my skills. So for example, this is a pretty popular one that I've worked on, the recipe kind of app. So this was really fun to work on, and it's just really awesome to follow along to these Adobe Lives, the UI UX ones. So yeah, that's a bit about me. I'm just really passionate about design, and I really try to leverage my design skills to help make the world a better place and solve user problems.
Yeah, that's lovely. And I see the plant care app from the Daily Creative Challenge that I was hosting. It's so cool to see you do the challenges, and now you're on Adobe Live sharing your work and showing everyone what you can do. So that's so exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm really happy to be a part of this. So looking forward to it.
Yay. So we have some love from people in the chat. People are liking your challenges and liking your hair. How about that?
Oh, thank you so much.
Cool. Let's get into things.
Okay. So first off, about the project. Let's jump there. I listed out a project overview, what we're going to work on, maybe some problems and solutions. This is just kind of my design process that I like to go through. So I identified a problem, which is that many people do not know what kind of plant suits them in their lifestyle. Maybe they feel like they might not be the best green thumb, or they've had some challenges with plants caring for them in the past. So a possible solution to this is to create a person that matches you or matches people to the right plant. Digging deeper into the problem, like framing the problem, that's usually the next step. So users they're not always sure what plant suits them. So they're unsure. Or they may feel a bit like unfamiliar. They don't know how to properly care for a plant, which may make them feel like discouraged to own a plant. So from there, I like to create how might we questions, just to kind of help me figure out how I want to design the app that I'm creating. So the first how might we question is, how might we design an onboarding experience that helps us identify users' needs and as well as match them with the best plan? Or how might we design an easy, fun, and informative way for users to care for a plant? So those are kind of the guiding questions that hopefully will help me navigate and design the wireframes for this web app.
Yeah, that's great stuff. And I see you have some plants already in your background. Have you dealt with those challenges before? Or are you plant lady, you know all the things?
Yeah, sometimes I think it just takes time. I definitely face some difficulties like that, caring for a plant, having to figure out what's the right way to care for it, and lots of Googling. So it would be nice. This kind of inspired me. It would be nice to just have a centralized place, maybe to know the type of plant that I need to care for. Yeah, so that's what inspired me. Yeah.
I know just from like killing off so many plants, I was like, okay, not that one. That's not the plant for me. By just murdering all my plants, and the ones that are that last, I'm like, okay, these are the kind of plants that work well with me.
Yeah, I'm doing something right. Yeah, but it's definitely trial and error for sure.
We have Mensa that says they're good with green ones, so that's nice.
Yeah. Or cool. Yeah, I know succulents are pretty low maintenance.
That's a great starter one.
Yeah, it really is. And yeah, so from here, I gathered some inspiration of what this website might look like, or web app. That's usually what the next step in my design process is like. So lots of green here. I really was inspired by like the dimension and the font style here. So that's really inspiring to me. And as well as this inspiration here, where the plants kind of are really, really detailed and it's lots of greenery going on. So that's kind of what I'm envisioning for the visual design for this website.
Looks really pretty.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Clean.
Very clean. Yeah, that's definitely my style. I've realized over time that I like clean design, and that's how I usually do my designs.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that, I think.
Right.
It's better than messy. So
yeah, but that also takes time to hone in on
the messy design.
Well, yeah, like I used to be a messy designer, but I'm saying it took time for me to, achieve my cleanliness.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can share some of those tips along the way today.
Yeah, definitely. So from there, just jumping into wireframes, I did kind of start building out a little bit so I laid out the screens for the kind of like the user journey. The user journey is pretty straightforward here. Basically, the user would land on the homepage, and from there they would jump into like Match Me, which is the matcher, which is essentially like a quiz. So from there, they answer a couple questions. Still need to build out the other questions. And then the last screen would be the results page where you get matched with your plant. And then from there, so this is the plant profile that I kind of started building out, but still need to add a couple more elements. And then the plant shop, which is where you could shop for plants, maybe if you want to browse for other plants that you're interested in, just to give users the option to do that. So yeah, that's what we'll be working on today. I also wanted to, I just wanted to kind of go over maybe some like tips for web design. So right now, this is like a standard desktop page, but I usually like to work with a grid. So I created a standard grid that I like to use, and this is like a 12 column grid, just to once again keep things a little organized and like clean pretty much. So I
This is the first tip for clean design. Get your grid on.
Yeah, really. So you could see I lined up, you know, some elements here. This is essentially going to be the navigation bar, but on the home page, that's not going to be there because we want the user to jump right into matching with the plant. But this is aligned to the columns, and then here is supposed to be like it's going to be an image, maybe of a plant, and then so that's pretty much for all of these screens. It's aligned to columns, but I kind of it's also okay to break the grid. I kind of broke the grid here just to kind of free up space. So yeah, it's okay to break the grid sometimes, basically, but it's also nice to have some kind of organization in your workflow.
We have Laura that says she loves clean and simple designs. And I think that, yeah, this really does feel really clean and easy to read and navigate through. And so it's nice to see kind of how you laid it out with the grid there.
Awesome.
Voodoo Val's asking, how do you set a grid?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's pretty easy. You select your artboard, and then there's a grid feature down here. So when you check that, some columns, usually the standard ones pop up, but you can adjust it, customize the type, how many columns you want. I like to keep it at even numbers. So this is 12 columns, and then you can adjust the gutter, which essentially is like it's like the spacing between the columns, or maybe it's the outside part. I get them mixed up. But so then after you've adjusted your columns, you can select it, use it as your default style that you can apply to the rest of your screens. So you make it the default. And there's also grids, which can be helpful for some people. But I like to just stick to a simple layout for columns. So I hope that helps.
Thanks for sharing that. Mensa put "Get Your Grid On" sounds like a Missy Elliott track. I think I said that, but I was like, oh, it would be good. I love doing what is it called? Parodies. Get your grid on. Get your grid on.
That's actually what I was thinking the same thing in my head.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that your grid?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I might have to make a TikTok for it if you'll join me.
It would be helpful, I'm sure. But yeah, so that's setting up grids. Sometimes I like to turn it on and off whenever I feel like I need it, or if not, sometimes it gets in the way. But so the home page, this is pretty much what I'm thinking is gonna exist here. Excuse me. So right now, when I make the wireframes, usually I just focus on the structure. This is probably not going to be the font style that I'm going to use, but it's just nice to have the overall structure laid out. I'm thinking maybe a nice sans serif for this, and then keeping not sans serif, a nice serif here, and then a sans serif for the subtext. And
awesome. How do you find the typography you're going to use?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I like to explore around what kind of font or typography, but I get inspiration from UI UX designs on Behance, and then try to find some type styles that are similar to that on Adobe fonts. And so that's usually where I get a lot of my fonts from. But yeah, I really like sans serif fonts. That's like very rounded and it just feels friendly, not too serious, I guess, which is my objective for this app.
Yeah, feels clean, if you will.
Yeah. Right now it does feel very clean, but when we add in some visual design, I think it's gonna kind of come to life and add lots of color. So since the homepage is essentially pretty much done, we could jump into the design wireframing for the quiz matcher.
Nice.
Yeah, so for the first question, I actually wrote down notes of what questions to ask this potential plant owner. So it would be a yes or no question, which is basically, do you have, I think it's important, you know, the type, if you have lots of light in your home, or if you've ever owned a plant before. So I feel like that would be a good first question. Have you ever owned a plant?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put that in there. Have you ever owned a plant? Okay, so right now got a little it's not aligned to the grid that we set. So when this happens, I just align it to the artboard, and then I could just double check, like, this is where it is and it looks good. And then I'll just turn it back off. But so essentially it's like a yes or no question. And then I have these buttons here. The user could select their answer and then they hit next. And then this is like not like the progress, but it at least shows the user where they're at in the steps of this quiz matcher.
So yeah, that's pretty important, right? Because like then someone might not know, like, is it 50 questions or 3? Yeah. How long do I have to spend on this? So that's great that you have that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was envisioning. But yeah, there's also other ways to show the progress of when you're answering questions. It could be like a loader or a little progress bar, but I kept it a little simple this time. So then, I also should add a little navigation bar up here just so that the user can see where they're at. So I'm just gonna grab these two. So the app name, and then this is actually supposed to be, or it's going to be like the user profile picture. So just gonna pop this here. And then, so yeah, that's pretty much what the quiz layout is gonna look like for the rest of the questions. There's a total of 3 questions. And then I'm just gonna take this. So the second question that I'm thinking of asking is more like a multiple choice type of question. So how much plant knowledge do you have?
And how did you create the questions or come up with the 3 questions?
Yeah, kind of, well, usually it would be user research, doing some user surveys, but for here, this is just, I thought of questions that I would like to be asked if I was interested in buying a plant or owning a plant. So yeah, I centralized it around that, like for someone who is interested in buying or owning a plant. Yeah,
Great.
Yeah, not too difficult questions, just more kind of general questions that could be helpful in matching with the user.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so this question, how much plant knowledge do you have? I'm gonna just align that there. So it's gonna be three options that the user could select here. So here, there was two options. So I'm gonna copy this over, but then I'm gonna need to add one more option for the user to select. So we're gonna zoom in a bit here. What I'll do, so I just duplicated. I could do repeat grid. Nice little.
I like how it gives you a tip as you're doing it.
Now I know, but yeah, you could honestly. So I just duplicated this by doing option drag, but it is really handy to just repeat grid. So I'll do that with the next screen. But basically, so how much plant knowledge do you have? The first option that the user could select is I'm a green thumb. So this is for people who are pretty confident that they know what they're doing when they own a plant, but maybe they still want to get matched, or maybe they want to get a new plant. So that's why they're taking this quiz. And then the second question would be, I know a bit about plants. And then the last question is, I don't know anything about plants, or I don't know a lot. Or actually, I think it should be, I don't know anything about plants, just to kind of really categorize the three options.
Where do you think you fall in? And maybe if anyone's in the chat, where do you guys think you fall in? Would you be green thumb? Would you be know a bit? I'm definitely middle.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes I feel like I'm a green thumb, but then I'm like, this plant died. I guess it's not. But yeah, I'm interested if anybody in the chat is a super green thumb. That'd be really impressive.
Laura asked, she wonders how the app will determine in which plants she can take care for. So does it consider your daily schedule, free time, free space in the housing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good question. Honestly, I was thinking of including questions like, what's your lifestyle like? Or do you have a lot of light in your home? So I don't think it would hurt to maybe add in maybe 2 more questions just to kind of really narrow down on the best plant for the users that we're designing for.
Yeah, I hear you. It's good also to start with a couple, and then you could always like add more if you need to, if you find the results are not clear enough. And so, yeah, I think that's a good point. Mm-hmm. Mensa says all they can see are potential salads. So either you hungry or you just think of plants as food.
I mean, to be honest, you could literally, I don't know how easy it is, but you could probably grow like a kale plant and then make your own like kale salads and smoothies. That would be really cool.
It's a two for one. It's not just cute. You can eat it. I do that with basil plants, but I always kill them. So
yeah, that's like a whole nother level, like taking care of like edible plants. Yeah, that's a lot, but I'm sure it's very rewarding.
We have Voodoo Val who says she's a green thumb. And Reverb says, if I can't kill it, it grows in my yard. Okay.
Wow.
Kind of run the gamut then of different plant styles.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I would love to be able to plant my own like strawberries or have my own garden. That would be really rewarding and fun. to take part in.
Goals.
Yeah. So since Laura, I think she made a really good suggestion about, her questions. I'm going to add in 2 more questions. So as a result, we'll need to add in some more steppers. So right now, let me turn off this grid. So right now there's 3 steppers for the 3 questions, but I think there's going to be a total of 4 questions now. So I'm just going to add in 1 more dot here. And I just quickly duplicated this dot, doing option drag. And then I like to see if they're aligned. So I just align it there. And then I'll group it, which is Command G for the Mac. And then right now I see that there's like some extra spacing here. So I like to clean that up, align this to the artboard, and then I'll select these. And then this is distribute feature where it helps make everything even, which is amazing. Oh, oops, I need to group these. Okay, so once these buttons are grouped, then just like to make sure everything is distributed. And there we go, the updated stepper. And then I'm going to take this and then just pop it here. Okay, so since it looks like I'm gonna make some adjustments to the spacing just so that there's enough space for everything. So let me go here. I think there's some room to bump this up. So yeah, definitely wireframing is lots of adjustments, lots of adjustment making so that everything flows and looks good. So I'm gonna move this here. I think that should be enough space. And then I can move these a little bit up. So then there will be enough space for the other additional questions that may be in the other pages. And then I'll bump this down. I think that should be good. I wonder if I should make this a component since I'll be reusing, I'll just leave it here. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this and then delete this and then put it in its new spot. Hopefully that should be, okay, that looks better because now there's gonna be some padding between everything.
Also, we have a question from Voodoo Val about if these are pro tips for alignment and if you have any other go-to techniques for spacing and balanced pages.
Yeah, so once I have like the content on the page, I like to focus on the aligning things in the middle. So these would be kind of aligned in the middle. And then from there, I can start figuring out the spacing between the content, the buttons, or the title here. Also keeping in mind how much real estate is going to be in the middle of the page. So I think right now, I also like to, what I'll do is I'll group this and then I'll group this and then I'll select these 3 pieces. And then I could also, I'll distribute that way. So then everything is just all equal on both sides while also having some space for additional buttons. So yeah, I hope that made sense.
Yeah, those are some great tips. And I also got a question from Mensa asking like what XD feature you like best.
Yeah, obviously I really like the distribute features.
Yeah.
No, but I also like the repeat grid when I'm designing a lot of repeated buttons or options like this, because that just saves a lot of time for as a designer. So you're not like doing things if you don't like, you're focusing on doing other things instead of having to go in and like duplicate components. So that's really helpful for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let's see. This, I'm just going to see where this is. So 204, and then I just going to bump this up.
So you're just aligning all of the questions in the same place in the artboard.
Exactly. So that's, oops. Okay. Actually, I can keep that there. So then I can see, now I can take this and just move it a bit. Let's see where it'll go. Okay, so right now there's the spacing is kind of limited up there, so I'm just gonna bump it down a bit. It's okay if, you know, I mean, obviously this is gonna be more centered because there's two questions, while this is gonna be kind of adjusted a bit because there's now 3 questions. But at least the title and these buttons, this down here, they're in the same place and they don't have to be moved around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's coming along pretty good. I'm thinking, I'm going to ungroup this. I'm thinking when the user makes a selection, it will show like a little check mark just so that they know which answer they selected. So I'm gonna add in a icon for a check mark. So my go-to plugin that I like to use is, let's see, I think, okay, icons for design. It's really easy to use. I like to just search up what I'm looking for. So in this case, it would be a check mark. And I really like, or I'll just keep it as check. I really like this plugin because it shows icons from different kind of designs. So there's like material icons, just all different options. But my go-to is feather icons because they're clean and it's like my style. So I just click it and then there it is.
So I feel like we heard another clean tip, pro tip, which is like thinner, clean designs or thinner icons to make that clean feel.
Yeah, definitely. I like the outlined kind of designs more than like the thicker or filled in, but it all depends. So right now, actually, this icon is kind of, so we're just gonna like pop it right here, but it looks a little thin right now. So just like to adjust the border or the thickness of the border. I like to play around and see how thick it should be. And I think maybe 6. So right now it's a little big, so I'm just gonna make it a little bit smaller. I think, let's see. I wonder, actually, I kind of like, I want to see if with a checkbox. Actually, no. So we're going to keep it as a little check mark here. So yeah, once the user makes a selection, Then a little check mark shows that's your selection that you made, just to add a little intuitiveness. And then gonna add a drop shadow. Let me remove that one. So the drop shadow, it's just pretty much gonna show that this option has been selected. It's just a little design things I like to add, little features like that. So
we had a question from Richard, if this is for desktop or tablet.
Yeah, that's a good question. So for me, with my experience, I try to design websites that are responsive. So then you can use this on your tablet or even on mobile. But essentially, this would be on a website, but it could also be used on a tablet because it would just be responsive, which just means that the screen size would be smaller, but then all this content would kind of there would just not be a lot of space essentially around this.
Yeah, because that's quite a large artboard. So obviously for desktop, but I could see how well this would translate to tablet as well as mobile. That clean design makes it real easy.
Yeah, I think that's like a really good kind of, like, as a designer, it's just important to keep that in mind, like different screen sizes, because a lot of people use their phone or on desktop. So it would just be it wouldn't be user friendly if the design is only good on website or mobile. So I just like to keep those things in mind.
We also had a little comment of the no is missing from the last answer. I don't anything about plants. I guess I don't know is missing there.
That is
so good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks
calling it out in the chat.
Thank you. Okay, so since we just added that, but right now, so there's some padding. There could just be more padding since it's a little bit of a longer sentence. So I just gonna grab this. I like to kind of make sure that the rectangle, the width is even in some way. But so I'm gonna make it 580. And then could just realign everything to the artboard. So now there's some padding here. And
otherwise it feels like squished in there and you're like uncomfortable in that button.
Yeah, exactly. I would feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Another pro tip for clean design is get some good padding. Don't make things feel squished.
Padding is your friend as a designer.
Padding could be your friend in other ways as well.
Right. And so I'm a fan of padding. And I'm gonna take this check mark and put it over here because we want it to be consistent. So I'm just gonna pop it here. Could probably move this a bit more over a little bit. So yeah, it's gonna look something like this. And then for this one, how much plant knowledge do you have? I know a bit. And then the third question that I have written down. So this is gonna be about like, what is most important to you when you're pretty much interested in owning a plant. So what is most...
I feel like this is kind of a really important question.
Yeah. So what is most important to you when owning a plant?
Also, it's been about 40 minutes. And if you guys are just joining, we have Tarrea, who has been working on a plant matching experience. And we're building out the wireframes for the questions in order to match a plant that's appropriate to your needs and to your wants.
Yes. There we go. Yeah, so this is also going to be like a multiple choice, not multiple choice, but like a select, but actually it will be a multi-select. the user should be able to select a couple questions at once. I'm also going to show how to do a repeat grid. So these are going to be 3 questions. And then, so we're going to do repeat grid, and then you could just drag them out like this. So we have 3 questions here, very nifty. And then you can adjust the questions here. So the first question that they could select is maintenance. Oops, maintenance. I think I spelled that right. /care. So then, let me see. I think I could align this. Okay, yeah, so that's one tricky thing about repeat grid is realigning, because that feature is not there like once you make the grid.
You can, like if you select that text, you can align it down below where the text is over there. There's like the center alignment option there. And then
there we go.
Yeah, nice.
Fixed it.
We also had a nice little tidbit from Fergie, who says it's good to keep text on buttons short too, so it's easier cognitive load. So you've got some nice short answers there, which I think feels really good. People understand really quickly the answers that they want to select. So I think that works well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good pro tip. It just helps with, accessibility. You don't want to have too many, like a long sentence on one button. But yeah, I like to keep these short and simple to the point, just so that, anyone should be able to understand what they're being asked and, what, like making decision selecting. But this would be kind of multiple, like select all if the user wanted to. Or actually, maybe I'll limit it down to select 2 options. But basically, this is what's most important to you when owning a plant. Is it caring for them? Is it the color, the type of plant color? Or maybe is it the style of the plant style? Because that all kind of really should be taken into consideration when
definitely.
Yeah. But so since this is like a multiple selection, we should indicate that somewhere, because the user wouldn't know that was the case. So
yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna have to do is I'm just gonna move this down for right now, but I'm gonna make a subtext, which is essentially a smaller title. And it's gonna say, select 2 choices or 2 answers. Make 2 selections. There we go. And usually when you're doing like a subtext, it should be a lot smaller and maybe not bold, which is what I would do. So right now it's 45 points. Let's make it, let's see what 30 points looks good. But this is also really good typographic hierarchy or visual hierarchy. So we do have some hierarchy here with the smaller text, but they're both bold. So it's still kind of, I feel like it's clashing a bit. So I'm just gonna change this. Let's see what medium. That looks good. So there we go. When the user lands on this question, they have this question and then they see they got to make 2 selections. And then from there, I'm gonna grab this little components and then pop it here. So it looks good because there's still some padding here, and it just kind of all works out, even adding this subtext. But I'm just gonna see Okay, so there is some like the spacing between all of these, or I can see the spacing between this one. I just hold Option or Alt, and then I can see that the spacing is 60. But with this one, it's a little bit tighter. So I gotta adjust the spacing so that it's consistent with the other buttons or selections. So right now it's 20. Just gonna drag it. Let's see. And 60. So now I'm just gonna move this up. Let's see. I could probably actually make the spacing smaller for these other options. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I think spacing and consistency is also a key component to your process of making things feel really clean as well. So kind of going through and just changing the spacing out. That's great.
Yeah.
Also, we also have some people talking about Adobe Max coming up. Have you been to Adobe Max?
Yeah, I went virtually last year.
Really yeah, this is the second year it's going to be virtual. So it's free again for everyone who is interested. And I will be hosting, I'll be doing a little speaking for one of the events this year. I'm really excited. If you guys are interested, I am going to put it in the chat real quick, the link to where you can find my session. And I'm going to talk about the new XD features. I've got a little taste of it. I've already been playing around with the newest version. It's so exciting, guys. Can't wait to talk to you guys about the new features, what to expect, how to apply it to different designs. But of course, there's not just my session. There's tons of amazing sessions that you guys can check out and get your creative juices flowing. Yeah. When I attended in person, I was like, so many creative juices, so many creative people. Did you have a favorite session last time?
If I can remember. Yeah, it was with Howard Pinsky. He actually showcased a new feature in Adobe XD, which was the 3D. And I was like mind boggled. It was really cool. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, but so this feature that you're going to be talking about, that's going to be revealed during Adobe Max?
It will be. It'll be revealed at Adobe Max, and then I'm going to be doing like the community first takes, talking about how I apply it to my design files, and that's all I could really say. Can't tell too much about the new features, but I think you guys are going to be excited.
I'm definitely going to be there to witness this. And it's free, so I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. Yeah, it's awesome that a lot of these events, since they're online or virtual, they are free, and I feel like that's been really awesome for me because I get to join a bunch.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're at. It's accessible to all people. Like you don't have to fly down to Los Angeles or anything to join. And Fergie says it's her favorite event of the year. It's like Christmas.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. It was really exciting. When I was in person, I was like, this feels like a festival for creatives, like a music festival.
That sounds
like a Coachella.
Like a Coachella. Yeah, I remember, last year there was also music, but like live music, but that was a really cool little feature that was happening. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this upcoming one.
Yay.
Yeah, so I'm just going in and adjusting spacing, how to make some adjustments. So actually I'm just going to delete this and then pop it over here. Okay, so I adjusted the buttons here so that there's a bit less spacing, and I think that looks good. And then I'm gonna just put this back to 40. So now all of the buttons have 40 width or the padding. The spacing is 40. Okay, so I think, yeah, it's looking good. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna actually bump this down a little bit and then just move this real quick. Okay, I'm done like making little tweaks like this. So now question 4, let me adjust that. So question 4, let's just take these elements, copy it, and then.
Do you have a question 4 already lined up?
I don't.
Oh, maybe we could ask the audience for some help with the final question. What do you guys think is a good question to ask to figure out what is a good plant? Maybe we can also we could brainstorm some and then come up with an ideal. Do you have anything off the top of your head, Tarrea?
So I was thinking maybe, like I mentioned before, if you have like a lot of light in your house, but I also feel like maybe asking what your lifestyle is like. It's busy, but yeah, that's what I had at the top of my head. But it'd be great to hear any other suggestions.
Yeah, I definitely think lighting is a big one. And then, and as well as lifestyle, or how much time you want to spend with your plants. What do we have so far? Again, we have what is most important: maintenance, care.
Yeah. So
how much plant? Go ahead.
Yeah. How have you ever owned a plant? How much plant knowledge do you have? What is most important to you when owning a plant? Yeah. So those are the 3. And then the last one, which could be your lifestyle, what kind of lifestyle you have, the lighting. So let's see. I'm going to just
think is most important. Oh, Laura is also asking about pets, like some plants that could be toxic to pets.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
Yeah. I was thinking of having that, like the plant, like toxicity in the plant information on that page. So then you can see that all right there, if it's toxic to pets. So I'm definitely going to add that in.
Okay. You've already considered that. Cool. Yes. We have Kerwin that asks a very serious question, which is, what is the plant's favorite movie genre? We also have Richard. How often will you take care of the plant?
Oh, that's a really good one. I like that one.
Okay, let's move forward.
Okay. So how often would you take care of a plant? Yeah, that question about the movie, what type of movie, the plant, that just reminds me, I feel like sometimes my plants like the music that I play for them. And I feel
like, well, what kind of music is this?
Yeah, it's like lo-fi type of music, instrumental. I like instrumental hip hop music. And I feel like they probably jam out to that. So that's their favorite type of music.
That's, maybe that's a thing. We should start seeing if our plants thrive when we play certain genres of music.
Yeah. I feel like it could.
Lo-fi hip hop.
Yeah, it could make a difference. So how often would you take care of a plant? We could do, I don't know.
30 minutes?
Oh.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Is it like weekly, monthly? That's a good point.
Yeah. So monthly, weekly, and then I'm thinking daily. So I think, I think that's some pretty good options right there.
It'd be nice to just have to take care of my plant once per month. That'd be nice.
I think maybe there are some plants out there like that, but I don't know which ones. but this would help you figure that out.
I like what Voodoo Val said right now. She said, there are actually studies that show how music and talking to plants affects them. And she plays Fleetwood Mac for her plants because all her plants are witches.
Now we're talking, because she just listed a lot of my favorites in one sentence. I love Fleetwood Mac. I
love witchy things.
I love witchy things.
Tomorrow I'm getting my nails done, and I was just like looking up all these witchy type of nails. And I was like, when I was looking at it, I was like, I think I'm going to do all these all year round. Like witchy every day.
I would do the same thing. Like, love it. But yeah, that would be really interesting. So, okay, I'm adjusting the buttons again. I just want it to be enough padding for everything.
Pro tip number 5, lots of padding adjustments consistently as you go through all your wireframes.
Yeah. Okay. But now I think, okay, everything is good. Everything is in the right spot. We just got the last question out the way. So now it's the fun part, which is the results page. So I'm thinking, like, on this page, it would say, like, congrats, you matched with a succulent. So that's what I'm thinking we're gonna.
It's like Tinder for plants.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. It is literally like Tinder for plants.
I wonder if some people would get offended with the plant that they matched with. It's like really spiky and like, ooh, oh.
I know, like a little droopy or something. I mean, that's what makes it more personalized.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just trying to think with this page how it should look like. Maybe so I think here it would say congrats, or I'll spell it out. Congratulations, you matched with could do succulent, since that's what came to mind. Or I'm also open to changing what kind of plant it is, if anybody has other suggestions. But it is going to kind of be, so whatever plant that we go with, it's going to be reflected here. This is going to be the plant profile of whatever we're matched with.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. I guess that's just a note to myself.
Yeah, it's good to know where that goes and where it leads to.
Yeah.
Also, we are about halfway done now with our time. Okay. And I just want anyone who's, just started browsing in on this live stream, you're like, what's happening? Well, we are, not we, it's mostly you, Tarrea, but designing a plant matching app. And we kind of realized it's like a Tinder for plants. And we're asking questions, figuring out what is the right plant for you based on the answers you've provided.
Exactly. So we're working through that. So I'm thinking maybe, okay, so this is going to be an image of a plant, but I'm just going to change it to like, this is a placeholder. So the plant, whatever kind of plant, actually, I'll make it a circle. But whatever the plant is, it's going to be right here in the center. And then maybe I'll put like a heart, like that's the plant that you matched with. Or yeah, I'm just trying to think. Or maybe it could be like a card. So I'm going to put another rectangle here. Let's see. Okay. So we're going to put that there to make it gray. And then I'm going to just send it to the behind this. This is where the plant, the image of the plant is going to be. So, oops. So it's going to be like a card, maybe like a UI card that says the name, the plant name, and then they can maybe there will be a button that says, take me to the profile, the plant profile. This is a really big card though. Let me make it smaller. So I just want to make it the width kind of even on both sides. So like 730, and then align it to the artboard. And then I'm going to add some text down here that says succulent, or maybe like the scientific name of the succulent, but it's just going to be here. Let's make this a little bit smaller. So yeah, once again, this circle is just going to be, it's going to be an image. It's a placeholder for an image of the plant. And then we can, I'm going to grab this button here. I think it's a group. Okay. So then I'm just going to put it here. Okay, that didn't work. Wait. Let me try that again.
We also had a comment from Richard who says, maybe you can add some falling confetti in the background, like someone won the jackpot. That'd be a fun animation. Congratulations.
Yeah, some falling confetti, or I was thinking of like the little emoji, like the little confetti popper emoji somewhere around here. Be like, woohoo. So yeah, that's a good suggestion. So here it's going to say succulent, and then it's going to say view plant. And then, okay, let me actually turn off this grid here. So yeah, this background is just for me to know that it's going to be some kind of card UI element. It's just a little bulky looking right now, but it just helps me be kind of organized. So let's adjust that. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. I think maybe I should add in a emoji there. I'll get back to it, but that's pretty much what we're going to have on this page for now. And then we're going to move on over once. So when the user clicks view plant, this would take them to this page. So now the plant profile. So when you're on the plant profile, this is where the nav bar kind of shows up, because if you wanted to, you could retake the plant matcher quiz, or you could shop around. So yeah, just to give users that option. And then here is where I'm thinking it'll be the plant name, and then a description about the plant. And then the subtext I'm thinking could be the scientific name of the plant. But, and then the CTA would be to buy the plant. So I could say buy plant. So there we go. And then this was just placeholder for me to know that essentially this is where the plant will live, the picture of the plant, and then it's going to be an art gallery where the user can look through different pictures of the plant. And then it'll be an interactive, there'll be some arrows here to show that you can, that's how you change the pictures. So I'm gonna look up some arrows. My go-to, like I said, is feather icon. So I like to look for the type of arrow that I want. So we're gonna do the left arrow and then the right one. And then I'm just gonna grab it, or I just take it out there and then put it down here. So, instead of it saying the gallery wheel, I'm gonna change it to the number of photos in this gallery. So like 1 out of 5. Or let's say 4 photos. 1 out of 4 photos. Just so that the user can see how many photos are in the gallery. So it's just gonna live down here. And then I'm gonna go in to the distribute just to make sure everything is aligned. So that's how you make that guy. And then over here is where I'm thinking we're gonna have the treatments, pretty much how to care for your plant. So I'm just looking at my notes. Okay, so I'm gonna actually change this to say how to care for your plant, just to make it a bit more personalized and friendly. So I'm thinking we're gonna have 3 like categories. So 1 for watering, like how many times you should be watering your plant. And then let's do this repeat grid. So then I'm actually gonna could probably make this a little smaller, the text. Let's try 16. And then we'll change this to 20. And then now I can adjust this spacing so that it's not like bleeding down the page. So we're gonna have watering here. And then for this one, it's gonna say light. So that will tell you, how much lighting should this plant be getting. Oops. Let's fix this text box. Okay, and then this one will be benefits of owning this plant. And then the last one, this is when I was thinking if it's pet friendly. So, and that's where it will talk about if, the plant is safe around pets. So that's what I was thinking for this section and the layout.
Yeah, I think this looks really nice. And like those are key points and it's really clean. And you can easily see all the major things that you would want when you're taking care of a new plant. So I like it.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm just going to kind of adjust some things just to make sure everything's not too squished together. So I'm just going to bump this over a bit. This is going to be the centerpiece, like where the picture of the plant is in the little gallery. So that's pretty much how the plant profile is going to look like. And then from here is the plant shop. If the user just wanted to browse in the plant shop. So I'm thinking that this would be laid out kind of like a gallery style where the user can browse through the plants, the type of plants. They'll be all in their own UI cards, kind of like what this one looks like. So I'm going to steal it. And then let's go back here. So this is kind of like the style that I'm thinking for. It's going to be a bunch of plant cards. So you can make this image a lot smaller. So it would be like this. Let me turn this off. So the plant image would be like this, and then maybe the card would be this size instead. And then it would say, I'm just going to have it say plant name for now. So the plant name like this, and then additionally, it'll have some a description here. Usually I like to add in or have it be lorem ipsum text, and there's actually a plugin for that. So we're gonna just put in some lorem ipsum. Let me make this a bit bigger. Let's see. So fill with placeholder text. Let's hope it works. Oh, let's see what happens. Okay. There we go. So yeah, I just like to have it just so that I know that that's going to be descriptive text here. But oops. So right now, since they're both, once again, like visual hierarchy, they're both bold, and we want the user to know that this is like the descriptive text, not a title, because it's going to be a couple sentences of copy. So we're going to just make this a bit smaller, see, like 20 points, and then we'll change it to medium. So I'm just gonna, let's see, add. So let me adjust this line spacing to like 30. That's fine for now. But essentially, it would just be a brief description about the plant. And then we're just gonna keep, oh, and then we're also gonna have another kind of label here for the price, how much the plant costs.
Yeah, that's always important.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna have that like here, but we're gonna make it a little bit bigger. Like, yeah, like 25. And then we'll keep it to say view plant. I wonder, maybe I should put it here, right here. There's different placements that I could put this, but I think it'll look good here for now. So I'm just gonna select these two. Let's see, kind of align it with this card here. And then we have our descriptive text that we're gonna have, and then view plant. So this is pretty much gonna be the card style for the shopping experience.
Awesome. We had a question from Voodoo Val who's asks if you have any tips for when designing a page with a lot of text information, making it kind of look nice and not boring or cluttered, because that previous page you had a lot of content on it, but it still felt clean. Do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, so definitely with this one, I feel like having, those columns helps, having enough spacing kind of helps break up the amount of content that you have. So definitely spacing. I like to utilize, spacing, white space, and just making sure, that that can be really helpful. So that's what I usually like to do, as well as the layout of the website. It's okay to kind of not have text all in one area, or it's just nice to break it up. So that's what I usually like to do.
Awesome. Yeah. So more clean tips we've got, which is white space is your friend.
Yeah.
And also breaking up text with other images, icons, etc. as well. So those are some great tips.
Yeah, definitely. That's how you do it. Yeah.
We've got lots of them now.
Yeah.
Clean design tips.
Perfect. And then, yeah, so this is essentially what the cards are going to look like. And then I'm just gonna populate them. I can also actually do a repeat grid since I'm kind of really going in on that feature. But it really saves me, it can save you a lot of time instead of like having to, because it also, when you do the repeat grid, it changes all the cards instead of having to go in and individually change them. So that's what I really like about repeat grid. So we're going to do that here. So let's do, I want it to be like it's going to kind of bleed off the page because I want it to look like an interactive gallery that the user is going to scroll through. So this is how we're going to do it. We want it to kind of show that part, but I also want to give this like a lot more spacing. So maybe I'll make this card smaller. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna have to make this a bit smaller. And then I'm gonna just move this stuff up. And then I can do that. So then once all of that is aligned, so now there's a bit more breathing room, but I just wanted to show that this means that it's kind of extending off the page. So something like this. And then I'm gonna check my columns. I want this to be aligned with this column. So there you have it with that. And then similar to what we did, well, what I did with this, I'm kind of thinking of having this here as well for the plant shop. So I'm just gonna pop it here. But I wonder, maybe it could be like a scroll bar instead of it saying the amount of plants. So let me, okay, so I'm gonna replace this with like it's gonna be like a line, like or actually I'll make it a rectangle. Here, we'll see. It's gonna be like this, and then let me just fill it with a color. Okay, and then I'm gonna put another rectangle on top, but then this is gonna be a different color. So then it will look like when the user is like clicking the arrow, I'm envisioning this would just kind of like get longer. That's just what I was thinking. So I thought it would be a little cool way to show instead of having like page numbers. But I mean, page numbers or pagination could be another option. So yeah, this is what it would look like, or this is what I'm envisioning. So it's like a little scrollable shop gallery. And then
it looks really nice. It looks also, yeah, very clean and like you just want to swipe through it.
Yeah.
I feel, yeah, I like it. Also, when we were talking about confetti, there was like a whole thread on the chat that we were like, okay, maybe someone can make confetti, like animated confetti.
Yeah.
And Fergie might have already had it where she'd been working on it, but she just put in the chat a little link to her design file where we can see her confetti design. So we'll send it over to you. And maybe if you want, you can add it tomorrow if you feel that it's there now for everyone.
That was super nice of you. Thank you. And that's really awesome that you designed some confetti, because I don't know how to design confetti, but I definitely would be happy to check it out.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And then I also want to show like a plant that that's been clicked on. So let's see. Okay, let me see. This would have a drop shadow. No, they all then would have a drop shadow. At least I'm just going to ungroup it because I do want one of these to stand out. So actually what I'll do tomorrow when we apply the UI design is then I can make sure all of these have the same type style. And then I'll just like ungroup it and then make this one a little bit different from the other ones. But essentially it would be like a highlighted card that you selected. But yeah, so then when you view the plant, it would take you to this plant profile page. So yeah, that's what would be existing on the plant shop page. So I think we pretty much built out the wireframes for the experience. I guess the plant type is going to be a succulent. So just going to go with that.
Yay.
Yeah.
We also had a question earlier about like just how you got into UX UI design and how did you get into it?
Yeah, that's like a really good question. I've always been a creative, art was my thing as a kid. And I pretty much over time, I realized, I could get into design and do what I like, which is being a creative, but I could also help people through design. And so that's what really kind of got me into UI UX design, because I can also apply my visual design skills as well as kind of helping solve user problems. So I really enjoy it. I like the challenges that I face as a designer, but also solving those challenges through design.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of people that kind of have the similar feeling, that come into this field. They want to bring their creativity and their love for helping people. And so it's nice that we have all this like-minded community.
Yes.
If also in the chat, if you guys want to share your experience or if that rings true for you, or if you have a different path that led you to this, or if you're still even just dabbling, let us know in the chat what your experience has been coming into this field.
Yeah, definitely. It's been really great hearing the different stories of how people, got into UI UX design, but I'm happy to be a part of the community as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so since we're going to go with the succulent, we're going to need to grab a couple assets, like the images that we're going to be using. I think as well. So these are actually going to be icons. So I just realized I'm going to find some icons here. So like for the first one, watering. So I'm going to see if there's anything for water. Okay. So there's this little water drop that could work. I'm just going to keep that there. And then there's light. So I'm thinking a sun light. Now there's this one, the feather icons. Let me grab these. And then there's benefits. So I wonder what I could use for that one. Might have to go back to that. But then
I know sometimes it's hard to find icons for certain things. You're like, what? I was thinking like a briefcase. I don't know why, but
yeah, a briefcase. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes you kind of have to go a little outside of the box to figure something out. This is what I was thinking for the pet.
Perfect.
Yeah, benefits. I don't know. Maybe like a check mark, not a check mark, but like, yeah, okay.
A hand, like a helping hand, a heart.
Heart. I think a heart could work. Yeah. There's a hand holding heart. I think I like that one. So we'll take it. So we have our icons here. Oops. I'm just going to put those right here. So let me see. I know I kind of had like a little outline kind of style going on. So let me see if I can do that with some of these. Okay, so yeah, I'm just literally doing a border and then taking out the fill. But this border, we want it to look like this. So I'm just gonna increase the border thickness and let's see how that might look. So, okay, that's a lot. Okay, so yeah, usually I just go in and see, I adjust it a bit, or I might just have to make these all filled, switch it up a bit. So then I'll make this, let me see what happens. Yeah, so I'll just fill it all in. And then let me reverse these. So they would just look like this. But of course, we're gonna add some color to them tomorrow. And then I also like to, as like a tip, I like to have the icons look like the same size. So for consistency, so I'm just gonna kind of make them a bit bigger, like that. And then I'm gonna just pop them like right here. Wonder if I can put them. Oh, okay, so that happens. Just gonna put that there. And then put this here and match that there. And then put that there. I think the icons could be a little bit smaller. So I'm just gonna go in, oops, and do that. Let me make this a little bit smaller, like that. And I don't think we're gonna have these gray circles behind here because they were pretty much just placeholders for the icons. But who knows, they might actually look good once if I put color behind them. So I'm just gonna keep them there for now. So
nice.
Yeah.
We also had D. Kenzie who answered the question earlier when we're like, how did you come into UI UX? And they said that they are a commercial interior designer. So interior designer turned digital designer. So that's really cool.
Yeah, actually, I honestly, if I didn't do UI UX design, I probably would have gone into interior design because I really like it.
What kind of interior design would you like want to get into?
Like home design. I really liked, for example, I like playing The Sims, and that's when I got to really go in and do the whole interior design. And it seems like it's just a really cool way to show your creativity with furniture design.
There's like a Netflix show, like a competitive interior design Netflix show, which I started watching and I thought was kind of nice for people who are like not professionals who want to get into it. So I thought that was cool.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, it sounds like my type of thing. But yeah, so this is okay. So I'll need to find some information about the succulent, like a bit brief description, and then some details to replace all this lorem ipsum text. And then assets would be the images. So we'll need some images for this like main hero image, and then also different plant images for the plant shop, and then images for the succulent. So I like to use, we're gonna hop into Adobe Stock so we can grab some images, or at least browse for some to populate these. So for this, I like to just, I'm gonna look up houseplants. So like here. I'm thinking hopefully, so some images with white backgrounds, because similar to the inspiration that we were looking at just wanted to have a white background so then it could see there's some dimension. It looks like the plants are like 3-dimensional. Like I really like these two. Like I like this plant. I could do something with that. So I'm gonna save it just to collect images.
Yeah, I remember you gave a couple of the inspiration. You'd already done that work, right? Like looking up kind of your visual inspiration that you wanted to incorporate for anyone who kind of missed the very, very beginning. Tarrea had already looked up some designs.
Yeah, just to kind of give me a sense of how I want the UI design to look like. So yeah, now I'm just kind of I'm going to gather some images that closely match like what I'm envisioning. Yeah, so let's see. I like these plants here.
What about the guy like aggressively watering that plant? He looks like he's in a fight or something, like a battle.
I noticed that. I was kind of like avoiding it, but yeah, he's really concentrating.
He's got 3 things to water that plant.
He's trying his best, probably. That's what it is. But yeah, okay, I like this one. I'm just looking for the plants with the white kind of backgrounds, so then it's not too distracting. But yeah, I'm just gonna browse a little bit more.
Do you think that like finding images is an easy thing, is hard, is something you enjoy? Like, how do you feel about looking through images?
Yeah, it can be like if I just want to make sure that it's like a good representation. The images that I'm picking really represent like the design that I'm designing for. If I know that I want to download some pictures of plants, but if it's like it depends on the project, But I think it's fun because I get to browse through and see all these images and be like, oh, I think that's a really good one. So it's a fun part of the creative process.
Yeah. Especially because like, with a lot of digital design and apps and websites, they're fairly simple designs, unlike graphic design. And so like the images have to really carry a lot of the weight for making sure it feels really nice and really good. So it's kind of a very important part of the process.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Especially, if you're aiming for like a clean minimalist design, like sometimes the images do kind of carry your design to add, the pop of color or, that kind of style. Yeah. So,
and then Voodoo Val's asking if Adobe Stock is where you always look for stock images, or do you have other go-to stock resources?
I do. I also like to use Unsplash. So Unsplash it's essentially like another free stock images that you can use. Let's see. I like the nice range of photos used here as well. Let me see if there's some houseplant images that I could find here. So
the great thing too is like there is the free images in Adobe Stock as well.
Yeah.
So that's nice that I have go-tos as well for the free like Unsplash, and then it's nice. I think almost kind of like within the last year, Adobe offered like a free filter too. So
yeah,
I like that. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I just it's my go-to. So there's a succulent actually. I'm gonna
that is that the plant matching succulent? Is that the one?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna look for succulent pictures as well. This is usually just part of my process, before I start on the visual design or the UI design. I just like to collect all of the images that I probably will be using. Okay, I like this one. I think this is the one.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
I feel more connected to that one. If I were
Right.
to be matched, I'd be happier if that was my succulent match versus some of the scary succulents.
Right. Yeah, same here. So I think, yeah, I think those are a pretty good variety of images that we have. So we're gonna save those for tomorrow though. That's when we're gonna do the visual design. So we're gonna populate the images and add them here and see how that looks. I'm actually really excited for tomorrow because that's when we do the UI design, and it's really always good to have your structure first. So
is your favorite part the UI part?
yes, definitely.
Putting in all the colors.
Yeah, putting all the colors in, and just that's what helps bring the design to life. So the last thing, I mean, it's the adding the description about the succulent. Oh, and then I'm actually gonna start changing these to a type of plant. So I'm just gonna do a lily plant here. Any plants that I have that come to mind. Tiger plant. And then maybe, let's see, a spider plant. And then last, we'll do, I just had it. We'll keep that one, the last one, blank for now.
I'm like, I don't remember a lot of succulent names. So that's good. I'll look some up for you though. Or if anyone knows some in the chat.
Yeah, please feel free to share that. Yeah, so then, yeah, I think this is pretty much, I think it's looking pretty good. So what I would do for the next step, so right now I have the section for the wireframes. And then I'm just gonna create another section for the high fidelity screens. So I'm just gonna copy that over and then paste it here. Let's see, just make sure it's kind of aligned. Okay, and then I'm gonna have that say high fidelity. I mean, there's some designers like who just kind of, once they built out their wireframes, they just kind of, they'll maybe go over with the UI design, but I like to just keep it separate for personal preference. So what I'm gonna do is take all of these screens here and then duplicate them just so that for UI design. So I'm just gonna bring it over here. So now it's just kind of like separate flow, or not a separate flow, but just like a separate step that we're taking. And then I'm just gonna bring these over as well. Oops.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because sometimes I've in the past just started working off my wireframes, and then later on when you want to refer back to your wireframes or showcase your wireframes in a case study, you may not have them and you're like, oh no, I need to pretend and I need to recreate my wireframes. So it's kind of nice to have that as well.
Yeah, it helps like separate like your workflow. Like, because I definitely use my wireframes in the past for my projects, showcasing my case study. So it's nice to have that. So then now with these duplicated screens, we'll be able to, go in and change stuff while you have your wireframes kind of set and set on kind of over there. But yeah, so for tomorrow, I'm gonna pick out like a color palette that we'll have for this website. Definitely want it to be an accessible color palette, which is important part of the design process, just making sure that your designs are accessible for, you know, who you're designing for. And yeah, that's pretty much my objective for this whole experience, is to make it as user-friendly as possible. So yeah, we'll be choosing the colors and then the font styles. So that's pretty much why I'm really excited about it, because this is when we'll bring the design to life.
Yeah. And we still have got about like 13, 14 minutes left. Maybe we can talk about how you would choose colors and a little bit of, maybe we can even get a little taste of what you might be doing when you're finalizing your palette. But yeah, how do you begin that?
Yeah. So I like to take from the inspiration that I gather. In this case, so I'm thinking, of course, there's going to be some green, some elements of green here. Like I like the green buttons, so I'm thinking the buttons will probably be green, just to kind of show the emphasis on the leaves of the plants that are being showcased. And then as well as I like how with this one, it shows like the color with the green. I think it looks really nice together. But I also like to make sure to pick colors that aren't too vibrant or distracting. So this one, you know, there's like nice pastel color here, or this one, you know, lots of white, build from white with the green buttons. So that's what gets my gears going, like thinking, how do I want to use the colors? So then for here, so for the high fidelity screens, so I like to use a couple resources for putting together a color palette, because sometimes I'm not really good at that. So my two main color palette tools are Color Wheel from Adobe. So Adobe Color, lots of different, you know, options that you can choose from when you put in the color of your choice. So what I would do is, so that from that green color that I saw, for example, I will like copy it or use the eyedropper tool, just kind of take that there and then copy it. Oops. And then bring it over here and then just see, you know, what comes up. And then I can see, you know, the different shades. I usually like to look at any complementary colors, how that could work. And then I start kind of just looking around, seeing, you know, what colors complement this green. Same with colors, which is another it's like a color palette generator. So I'll start the generator with that main green color that I have in mind. So it's pretty nifty. Let's see if we can pop it in.
I'm always like, is it colors or is it coolers? I'm just like, how does one? I don't know.
I definitely pronounce it as coolers in my head.
Coolers. Just like a funny word.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really like coolers or colors because when I put in the color palette or the shade, you can view different shades. And that also helps, you know, figure out if you want to use a lighter shade of this green or a darker shade. And then you can save it, and then you can generate some more colors. So that's really like my go-to color technique. So yeah, I really like this green, but I want to also explore some more green colors. I also, another tip is kind of how do you, like, you think about how do you want the design or the website to be, the theme or the feel or the mood? Do you want it to be like friendly or inviting? So think about what are some friendly colors and inviting colors. So I'm really liking, this yellow here and this blue and the green. So once I'm just gonna I like to just lay out these little squares, and then I'll just see what I can do with these colors. And then there's that green here.
Are you using a shortcut for your eyedropper?
Yes. Oops. Yes, I am. So what I do is I select it and then I just hit I, and then you select any color that you want off of anything on the artboard or in this image here. It's really nifty.
I have never used that shortcut, so I'm excited to use I.
Oh my goodness. It definitely is just another cool design nifty thing.
It's nice to like bring in new shortcuts into your workflow, because you can't throw them all at once. You can't have like 50 shortcuts you're starting all at the same time. It's hard to remember. Right. So like one or two, every few weeks.
Yeah, it really comes in handy when you learn another tool or shortcut. So yeah, what I'm doing now, I'm just kind of exploring, putting in these shades, see what comes out. And this is a pretty cool. I like this color palette, or let me see if there's, okay, well, it just disappeared, the colors that I had. But it's like trial and error anyway. I like to explore different shades, and if anything, I could just save it, the colors that I like to use. And then to determine if a color is accessible or not, so working off of this green color here. So usually when you determine if a color is like accessible, it's against the background and the text. So I'll take this color, and then, so like, for example, let's say we want this button to be that green color that we had. Oops. Okay, let me see. Okay, so we want this to be this color. Right now, and this might be a little bit difficult for some people to read on the computer screen. So I like to use a plugin called Stark, which is an accessibility plugin that can help you figure out if the color is accessible enough against that black text. So it's a contrast checker. So I just do check. So, oh no, the colors didn't pass. So this is the colors that we have. It actually passes against large text, which looks like it's 18 or bold weight. So what I do is, that's when you kind of have to adjust the colors a bit to pretty much just make sure that it's accessible to lots of people. But yeah, so I think if this was like a lighter green color, then it should be accessible. And then I like to just run it through that contrast checker. Yeah, so that's a really good practice to have when you're applying the UI design to your designs, because it's really important to make sure that the colors are accessible. Because if you're designing and then you realize that the colors aren't accessible, you're gonna have to, change your whole color palette. So just keeping that in mind from the start will also save you a lot of time.
Yeah, I think that's great, because we do want to make sure, if we can, it's not mandatory quite yet, depending on the site, but we want to make sure that it is, accessible to all peoples and who have visual impairments or, dealing with with any challenges
Mhm.
when looking and reading a site. We also
Yeah.
have a question from Mensa who says, just out of curiosity, if green was not a option, what color choice would you lean towards?
That is a good question. I'm thinking even, I think I saw there's like a yellow color. Did I see that here? But no. So I think a yellow could work here. So like, where was it? In this inspiration, I really like this yellow, or like a gold type of yellow with green. So like this one. But yeah, so let me, if I could also, or you can also save these colors so that you can like quickly access them and build out your color palette there. So if we were using one of those, let's see. So let's see, with this, it would be like this. I kind of like it. The yellow works. It's also like a friendly color, very inviting. Could be like, you know, the sun, and then there's like the plants. So it's also creating that vibe that I'm thinking, that kind of mood that I want to set for the user. I wouldn't do like a red, because that just isn't really like earthy or planty. So that's also things that you should keep in mind when you're, you know, trying out these different color styles. But yeah, I like that yellow. So
I like that yellow too. It felt friendly.
It did feel friendly. So, and it's also cool to have different, like, you know, yellow and green, you know, working with those colors together. But yeah, so I like the yellow and green. I'm definitely going to put together some more colors to make a little color palette.
Yeah, definitely. And so, yeah, for those of you who are, you know, potentially came in at the last 10, 15 minutes of this stream, Tarrea has been working on this plant care app. She built out all the wireframes for it, questions that she would ask to match the person with their final plant, which we decided was a succulent. And then you copied and pasted all of these wireframes, a second set for your high fidelity. And now you're starting to think about the colors. You already selected images that you think you might want to add. So you're feeling pretty prepared for tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely helps being prepared and, you know, at least having an idea of, you know, the next step that you want to in your design process, which is the UI design. So yeah.
So I think that this is such a great place to kind of pause and think, you know, reflect on for tomorrow's session. You got your color palette that you're starting. And I'm super excited to see how it all kind of comes together tomorrow. I think a lot of people in the chat are as well. There are a lot of people who are giving lots of props to your design, thinking it was really pretty. They enjoyed watching your process and probably just enjoy you in general. So we are going to be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to finish off these beautiful designs. And, you know, stay tuned. Today's not over. There's the XD Daily Creative Challenge replay that's going to be starting right after today's show. And guess who's hosting? Me. It was me. So stay tuned for that. And then Adobe Live will be back tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. with Paul Tranny as well. Thank you so much for showing your whole process with us and for just showing us your way of designing very clean and beautiful minimal designs.
I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to share with you guys, and I'm really looking forward to working tomorrow with you all.
Yay.
Yay.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Great first stream.